so on. So I'm going to take a few more minutes to talk about the gradual reduction of stress and anxiety and how it broadens your perspective of things. You know, when the mind is chaotic and confused and scattered and more scattered your mind is, more confused and chaotic your thoughts are, we know that you narrow your perception of things. You have very little space to work on. And if you get really caught up in an angry thought, and it narrows your perception so much, but that angry thought itself is going to define your next move, and you can't see anything else beyond that. And when you begin to train your mind to focus and practice meditation, let's say mindfulness practice, so train the mind to remain focused, so practice concentration. When you cultivate your ability to focus, the mind begins to slow down. But that slow down process, the initial stage is noticing the chaos. I'm sitting here and I'm paying attention to my breathing. All what I see is normal thoughts that are constantly coming and going and rising and passing in my mind, right? And they are so habitual and mechanical, and so I'm going to see this. I'm going to be clearer and clearer as I pay attention, almost like a magnifying glass. As the attention becomes deeper, the mental behavior, it's feeling like looking through a magnifying glass. And things beginning to become clearer and broader. And as you feel the things are, broader, you also begin to understand the nature of your thoughts and how a thought rises. One thought rises in your mind, and the memory triggers a thought, and then that thought takes off. And you just goes into the past, and you goes into the future, and you just being able to notice the nature of your mental behavior and how certain triggers are producing certain thoughts, and how these thoughts are connected to the feeling that rises in your next. So let's say that you make an effort to slow down further. Your mind begins to, your concentration becomes deeper, things going to get settled a little bit more, and as you get more, you're going to notice, very important, the nature of the energy of your thoughts. Every thought, all our thoughts are releasing chemicals. Every thought bring in feeling, When a negative thought rises in your mind, at the moment a negative thought rises in your mind, you're going to see the discomfort of it. And let's say that angry thoughts or sadness or fear or any negative thought, as it rises, it just brings a discomfort to us. So you're going to see also a loving thought rises in you, a calm, peaceful thought rises in you. And the peaceful, loving thoughts, kind, compassionate thoughts, a positive thought, when it rises, and it brings a sense of comfort to you. It's naturally. The thought, we call it also karma. A thought rises, and the consequences of that thought is the discomfort, the action and the consequence. And that is connected to the thought, and the thought and its consequence. And when you see that your mind is calm enough, and your attention is right there, you notice the thought rises, and with that you feel the discomfort of that negativity. When you see an angry person, you see a person in pain, right? When you see a sad person, you see a person in pain. When you see a scared person, you see that person is in pain. So angry thought, turn it into a negative thought, turn it into a negative emotion, because speed up its activity and produce more as anxiety. And then you notice that the discomfort, that natural outcome of a thought, a negative thought is a discomfort. And the natural outcome of a positive thought is a comfort. And so a loving thought rises and you experience comfort. An angry thought rises, you experience discomfort. And to see this, your mind has to be calm enough. So you continue to train, practice mindfulness or concentration as the mind gets more focused and things begin to slow down and your perception becomes broader and you see the thoughts and their consequences as they happen. As they happen. So then you're beginning to see the root of your pain, because a thought, any thought that gets triggered produces a certain feeling. And you observe that and you pay attention to that. And as you familiarize yourself with this energy that is being produced by thoughts, at certain point you begin to understand that these thoughts are producing negative energy, bringing discomfort and pain to you, and these are producing positive energy and I'm comfort and I'm at ease with it. And when you see this so clearly and when you understand this, you develop your ability to say no to negative thoughts. Why this thought? Why would I allow this thought to cause me pain? Why would I allow this thought that is disturbing me, that is hurting me, that is stirring up my anxiety? So in that, the training is going to be, well, I am sitting, I am focusing my attention on breathing, my body is relaxed and a negative thought rises and maybe some a dislike of something or some kind of unhappy feelings or thoughts, and in that moment you can just see that it is producing it and your attention, your intention is to stop it right there. And so if you can hold your mind in a state where there are no negative thoughts, then we experience a state of comfort, right? A comfort. And this comfort is because of the absence of discomfort that is constantly triggered by unconscious negative thoughts. Absence of discomfort that is constantly about, pain, that is discomfort by that. And in this moment, you're also going to realize that a pain that we have in us is very dangerous because the pain is a result of our thoughts and emotions. And as I said, you might have done something bad to hurt me, but if I keep repeating that and dwelling on it, I'm in a state of pain. And so those who are dwelling in anger and bitterness are living in pain. So if you live in pain for too long, it can distort your sense of reality, and it can cause you to be mean. It can cause you to be senseless, or it can cause you to hurt other people, because the power to hurt others comes from the power of your own pain. And if I had no pain in me, let's say I'm doing a retreat and I'm a perfectly positive state and I'm very happy and relaxed, and something goes wrong, and you know, and it is very difficult for me to speak even a harsh word to somebody, no matter how mean that person is. I lose the power to hurt others by healing myself. The power to hurt others comes from your own pain. The more intense the pain, and think about the people who are emotionally wounded, the people who do these horrible things, right, to others, and you can see that it comes from the pain of their emotion. So this is a very important awareness, because you are beginning to realize that nobody can hurt you and nobody is causing this pain, and this pain is produced by my own emotions and the anxiety, negativity that I produce in me. So how can I heal myself? How can I free myself? How can I prepare myself as a solution to the bad world out there? Because as I become free of pain, I become naturally a peaceful and calm and loving person. And if you're deeply in pain, what is also interesting to see that the people who are hurting so much, the door to their heart is closed. So it's very hard for them to say one nice word to somebody, because they're so much in pain, getting so stuck in negativity, and it's very hard for them to feel love for another person.
It just reminds me, I work with children, so
Yeah.
It reminds me of like the bully
who
is, lashing out at others, but really the anger resides in that child.
Exactly.
And they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it is also interesting, this brings you into another level of awareness, where again this is the process of cultivating self-awareness. You by only observing and slowing your mind and zooming in, and you begin to see the nature of your own mental behavior and cause and the source of your suffering. So as you begin to see that, this understanding is very important, because when other people do hurtful things and not doing what we want to do, and it's very easy for you to understand that person, and knowing that nobody will insult you if that person is not in a state of pain or discomfort. Right? Even to dislike somebody, you have to be in a certain state of pain or discomfort. Discomfort is connected to dislikeness. When you dislike somebody, it is an unpleasant, it's discomfort to dislike somebody, right? And when it turns into anger, and it just becomes pain. But even the discomfort itself is somewhat light pain. Right? You could be very easily distressed by disliking somebody. But if you live all day with a person who you dislike, you're holding this discomfort in you, which become more like accumulative pain. And so this is very important that you see that, and then the further the mind become calmer, and you prevent your, if I can prevent negative thoughts entering my mind for 10 minutes and be in a peaceful, positive state, I find it is a very joyful state. And this we call sukha, a comfort, a real comfort. And if you can hold on to this state of comfort and continue to cultivate your practice, the mind comes into a state where we call equanimity, equilibrium. It stops fluctuating constantly with your thoughts, because the anxiety begins to comes into a very low level, and you feel equanimous. And when you continue to cultivate that state of equanimity, the mind enters into what we call a state of samadhi. Samadhi means unshakable state. The mind is not shaking anymore. Mind is in a peaceful, calm state. And this we call samadhi. Very calm, peaceful, content mental state. So you can see we begin with the struggle to pay attention and being confused about where, how I'm going to guide the mind and how we're going to train it. But these are the experiences that we have had. Might say I would have had personally myself some, but when you think about more advanced, the monks who have practiced for a long time, you can see how they have gone through this process of transformation and gradual reduction of stress and purified and themselves into an amazing, compassionate and loving and peaceful beings. You understand? So you have the same potential to become like that. And you can see somebody, that in that state where you have gone through the stages of transformation, and nobody to blame, nothing to point finger at, and it all begins with the intention of learning to pay attention and sitting with this chaotic, distressed, state of body and mind, and slowly realigning it, and only by sharpening your attention and directing the mind into a place of peace. As the peace becomes deeper, you translate. And this is when we call it panya, the wisdom rises. That the things become clear on its own. You're not using a definition of a book to see what is right or wrong. You are seeing it from the consequences of an action. And a thought rises and, these are bad thoughts because the Bible says it or something like that. You don't have to say like that. You know that through the observation, the consequences of those thoughts and how it affects me and how it affects others. And because of that, I choose not to get involved, not to cultivate these thoughts, or be free from this kind of mental state, seeing the action and consequence. And you're able to see that cause and effect relationship. In that, you built the strength, develop the strength to free yourself from those states. So you become a good person. Be mean to somebody, not because there is some other reason, but you see the meanness and the consequence of meanness, the pain in meanness. You see it and you understand it. And slowly what happens? You lose the ability to become mean. You don't even choose. Even if you choose, you can't be mean. Because you simply have lost that ability, because you only see the consequence and understand the consequence of meanness. And then you see the kindness and the consequence. So you choose to attend a challenge with the kindness because you see the consequence of kindness. And so you will be able to bring kindness more often into challenging moments, not because you are extra spiritual or somebody, morally, superior. It's just because you see the cause and effect relationship. And there is a challenging moment that by bringing kindness, you will be able to really neutralize things and you have more upper hand on it. At the same time, you don't get drawn into the negativity of the other person. Right? So the goodness is a result of the awareness and the understanding that is brought by that awareness. And the motivation to do good or become a better person come from knowing the consequences of being a better person, how it affects your day and how it affects the day of the people who are around you. So you're so motivated to overcome your negative behavior and prevent yourself getting angry or doing bad things or mean things to others and so on. So calmness brings the broaden the perspective of things. As things become clearer, you understand that the purpose that you have come to this life is to nurture the goodness within us, because that is only we find the highest and best fulfillment in life. And if you it's just you talking to the kids in the kids level, and you said, you can say, well, if you treat others people badly and you're so unhappy, and it's very easy for you to torture yourself, and because bad people are so much in pain, right? And it is so important, because when you sit in front of, I have sat in front of some of the worst people in the world, and you wouldn't believe it. And I have sat with all kinds of amazingly crazy people, gang leaders. And when I had a conversation recently with somebody, and when I sat in front of this, let's say, one of the worst people, who have killed so many people, who comes to see me with like 10, 15 bodyguards with guns, right? Everybody say, don't see this guy, don't meet this person. And he's terrible. The government can even kill you if you talk to this person. This person, when he come and sit next to me, I am not thinking about what he has done. And I very clearly told him when I began the discussion, it just came for 15 minutes, you were talking 2 hours. And I said to him, whatever you have done, whatever other people say about you, it's not important. You're sitting in front of me. I'm talking to you as a person, as a human being who have heart and spirit. And I want to see you without any of your past behavior, because if you're really interested in changing now and changing your future, and we can focus on that. And then we asked several questions, that you have been doing this for 20 years, how many people have been hurt? But he poured his heart out. This is, a leader who started, younger man who started with a good intention. We want a revolution because we want the government is too corrupt. A good intention. And he has no intentions in the beginning to hurt people or kill people. And of course, the government leaders don't want, to their system to be broken. Anybody who challenge, always they challenge them. So then it became stronger and stronger and stronger. And he was telling his story. It's very interesting. Recently, a member of parliament in Kenya came to me, and only this year, in the beginning of this year or last year, I don't remember. And he told me, Bhante, this guy used to come to see you, and because he said he won't come to the temple if he's coming. And I said, I can't stop. I want all the crazy people to come to the temple. I want all the murderers and killers come to the temple. And anybody who's smart enough know that they come to me, that it's a good thing for everybody. I'm not going to tell him how to kill people. And it doesn't matter how many people they have killed, And so recently he came to me and he said, Bhante, he's just talking to me very nicely and said, you know what? And you remember Maina Jengi used to come to me? I said, yes. And we were so all angry with you and we didn't want to come and we were worried about you. But you still keep doing him. Yes, I said, you know what? Since then he has killed nobody. He was telling me since then he has killed nobody. He was just telling like that, just like that. And I think it is important to see that the goodness that you hold within us. And if you, recently I was talking to a gang leader in Nepal, that was amazing. He's really a gang leader. The people come to me and say, he's mafia, don't associate with him. And he's a gang leader. And I want him to be closer to me even. And then he came, we built this big Buddha statue and we had the opening and I said, you should give a talk. Everybody said, it will be the end of it. Whole community will be against you if this bad man speaks to me. You. And I said, no. Changing one bad person is an amazing thing. So I gave him to talk and I talked to him, Raj, don't go there, it's not real. I want you to tell your story, your journey, a new journey that you're starting to transform yourself. Don't tell people to believe in you. Tell them that you're earning your respect back and you have taken necessary steps to change. And now I'm guiding him. Tell them that. People were in shock in that moment. And in a way they were very happy. You see? So it is so important how you can turn that goodness in you into a bad situation, into a bad person. And then I think that you can see how the world the people are going to be influenced. Because you need to take an extra step. You need to be brave. You need to break the rules in order to do that. And I went against everybody to see Maina Jenga. Nobody approved that. And people said that, I want you to make back to the temple if I go to see him. But I said, no, it doesn't matter. You live and die, but you just try to do something amazing. Not for me and for the world, and for the sake of this, changing somebody. But doing good, you can die anytime. It's a good way. So anyway, what you need to do is to all think about the small challenges that you all have in your life and to see what steps that you want to take, to accommodate somebody who is in pain, and what steps do you want to take to be able to take that brave step where you will be able to give up your selfish, self-centered interest and help somebody to heal, help somebody to change, and get somebody to participate in it. And I associate a lot of bad people, and I think it is a good thing, because I was young, and when I was 14 years old or 19 years old, but what we did not know is that a lot of these guys listened to me and they understood me, and they were willing to change. These young people, who were helpless, who were lost. And the same thing, then when, in Sri Lanka, where there was a big war for 10 years, I met this is the world's most ruthless terrorist organization. But the thing is that, why would you do that? You need to be brave. Because why you want to change? Because this one person could create suffering to so many millions of people, right? And so it is so important for you to see the people who are around you. And they're not as bad as any of what I'm talking about. There's nothing. It's just simple things, that stress that you're caused by this or that, or disappointments or small things and all that, and even maybe your weakness in your personality and so on. So what I suggest is, please take time and to know that you can become a blessing to the others by really connecting with your goodness in you, and to knowing that giving somebody that gift of peace and taking somebody on that journey to heal is something that may be the best thing you did in your life. And you are never a loser, because somebody will say, well, they take advantage of you and they use you, you know. I said, I would love anybody to use me to become better, you know. And it's been amazing. When I was young, I used to go to the women's prison a lot, and I get women released from the prison. And a lot of people over the petty crimes, but everybody was telling stories, telling that these women have conned me. And they are here because they have conned the world, and they're conning him, and they are really, he has been fooled by these women and take advantage of him, his kindness. What they did not know, every woman who were shedding tears and buckets of tears, I listened to them, I understood them, I personally investigated them. Not a single woman lied to me. But nobody believed that. All the guards or everybody was not believing that they were telling me the truth. And they all were lying. Nobody was not even lying, single lie. Because I looked into it, I sent somebody to their village or investigated and caught and found out what kind of files they have and everything, and nobody lied to me. So I think it is so important for you to see that what other people do doesn't matter. You can make a difference in the lives of people. That is the way that you make a difference in your life, right? Your life. If you have the courage to just to stand up and give up all this nonsense and just to, you know, live in peace with somebody, or, you know, help somebody to go through the transformation or difficulties, I think it is a really nurturing experience for you as well. So I want you to see, not only this is what we want to achieve through meditation, that empowerment, you know, empower you, because your mind is calmer and things become clearer and you're empowered, you know, to do this. It's not that the selfish life that I have to live until I old at any means. No. And, you know, I take a brave action to just to, you know, free one person who causing so much suffering to everybody. And it's okay. So anyway, I hope that you will continue your practice, and tomorrow, you know, is the loving kindness day. We are going to practice loving kindness meditation because we learn in two ways. One is to ask questions and explore and examine and be more knowledgeable, and the other way, cultivate more peace and clarity of mind, and through self-awareness,